Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome to Katalon Automation tutorial. So this is our lesson 28 where I'm going to talk about data-driven testing concepts. So in my previous lesson, which is part 1 of your data-driven testing. So this is part 2 of data-driven testing. So I would recommend you guys to visit my previous session part 1 to understand the concepts very well. Okay, so in this part 2 I'm gonna cover how can you drive the test data from multiple sources of different kind, which means one source of test data is an Excel sheet, another source of test data is your database, right? So that's what I'm gonna talk about in this session. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So what is the agenda item? And then how can you perform this data-driven testing by using two different source systems? So here, first, I'm going to automate an end-to-end scenario using Katalon Studio. And then we are going to prepare two data sources. One, test data I'm going to prepare in Excel sheet. And some of other secure test data I'm going to insert in database. Here, I'm going to use MySQL, okay, in this session. And then we need to import the Excel file, and then you need to establish the connection to database MySQL by using Katalon Studio. And we are going to create TestSuite and perform data binding using test data and variable binding for both Excel as well as database. So without delay, let's jump onto the system and see how can we perform these activities. So this is my latest version, Katalon Studio 8.6.6. Okay. So first, what is our first step? Okay. Our first step is automate end-to-end scenario using Katalon Studio. Okay. So as we do regularly, I'm gonna quickly record one scenario, and then we can customize the scenario, okay, based on our need. Okay. Let's click on record web, and this is my Katalon demo Cura, which is again Katalon's healthcare application. Okay, and I want to select Chrome as my default browser. So let's expand this. Click on Chrome record, and it's going to open your URL. And then let us quickly book an appointment. Make an appointment. Enter username. Enter your password. Okay, click on login. So let us book an appointment for Hong Kong. Okay, and here enter your date and then comments. Appointment for Cura healthcare. So in my previous session also we have done same kind of scenario. We automated same kind of scenario. Okay, and then book appointment. So this is done, and this is my confirmation. And let's stop this. Okay, so let's save the script. If you see here, probably like in my previous session, right, we already worked on multiple Excel sheet, correct? If you remember, we already automated the same kind of scenario, and then we used multiple Excel sheets for the data driven testing, right? So this time I'm gonna use two different data sources. One is database, another one is Excel sheet. Okay, let's save this script. Save the script, and here I want to create a new folder. Okay, let's create a new folder. Multi data source DB Excel. Okay, I'll say DB Excel. Click OK, and here if you click on OK, it's gonna store. Okay, sorry, it is actually creating one test case also. We forgot to create test case, so let's name this test case as multi-source DB and Excel. Okay, click OK. So it is creating one test case, and also it stored our objects. If you see here, multi-data source Excel, this is where all the objects are stored, correct? And then this is our new test case. Let's see the new test case here. Where is our new test case? This is our new test case. I want to move this new test case to this folder. Okay, let's move this test case to folder. Okay, so the test case is created, right? We already recorded the session, and this is your entire test case, right? And here, instead of clicking on your appointment confirmation, I want to verify that, right? So let's make it as verify element present, right? So once you click on book appointment, I'm just verifying the confirmation of the text, right? And save this. So we have completed automating one end-to-end scenario. Now prepare two test data sources. So let's go to my Excel sheet, my folder. If you see, I already have one Excel sheet where I have provided appointment details. Only appointment details. Remember that, okay? Here, okay, let me just delete one row here, okay? I want only two sets of data, okay? Let's delete this. My first appointment is for Seoul, and my second appointment is for the Hong Kong facility. So when you are actually booking an appointment, there you are selecting facility and then you are providing comments, right? So these comments are different for two different appointments. Okay, so that is done. Now let's save this. Now the username and password credentials are very secret. So I don't want to store those credentials, user credentials, in Excel sheet. Instead, I want to take those credentials from database. What database? MySQL. So in my case, I have already installed WAMP server. Okay, I already installed WAMP server. So if you see, this is my WAMP server, and if you see here, this is my WAMP server. Okay, WAMP server. I already installed WAMP server. So WAMP server is very easy method to basically create your MySQL database tables, and also you can use Maria database. If you see here, I have MySQL database. I also have Maria database. Both. I can use any one of them. So probably I can publish, or I can upload, I can publish a new YouTube video if required. I can tell you how to install WAMP server, and then how can you basically start creating tables. So let's go back to our admin. Okay, PHP my admin. Okay, let's go to admin so that I can show you the database table that I created for the username, for user credentials. So this is my username. I want to select database MySQL instead of Maria database. Okay, MySQL login. And if you see here, I already created one database called Katalon Studio. Under this, I have created one table called authentication. Okay, what is this table you see here? It has two columns, username, password, and corresponding username and password. Correct? I have both of them. But this is not encrypted value. This is not encrypted. So let's go back to my test scripts. I have to make small change in the test script. Here, I'm not sending encrypted, right? I want to basically set a text. That's it. I want to set the text. So I set the text and save this script. But anyway, we are going to replace these hard-coded values with the variables anyway, right? So now I have two data sources. One is Excel sheet and the other one is my database. From database, I'm getting username, password. In Excel sheet, I'm storing appointment details, right? So now, how many data sets you have in the database, whatever the data number of data sets you have in Excel sheet, you can drive them. You can basically drive them while performing data-driven testing, correct? So now let's go to what is our next step? You created them, and now you have to enhance the script by replacing your variables actually, right? So let's go here. Let's create a variables first. Okay, create variables, go to variable tab, add. Here I'm gonna say username, string. I don't want to assign any default value. Okay, here password, string. I don't want to assign any
default value. And here comments, correct, and one more is facility. Okay, facility. So the same, if as I told you, in Excel sheet we stored comments and facility, right? That's what we stored. Let me just cross check once. Yeah, comments and facility. If you see, the column names are same as the variables that we created. So make sure that the column names are matching. Okay, so that's it. In the same way, the column names, here the variables should match with the column names of your DB, username, password, correct? So that's it, done. Now we have to replace these constants with the variables. What is this? This is my username. You have to change the value type to variable and then select the column name as username. The value, variable name as username. In the same way, password. Here your value type is variable and here the variable name is password, correct? And here this is your facility, correct? So I'm selecting the drop down facility from drop down variable and here my facility. Click OK. And this is my comments. I'm setting the comments here, right? So now I want to select the variable comments. Done. Click OK. Done. So what we did, entire test data we replaced with the variables, correct? So what is our next step? Now our next step is we need to import the Excel file to Katalon and you need to establish the DB connection with Katalon Studio. So establishing DB connection is very important. First let me quickly show how can you establish the DB connection. Okay, so to establish the database connection you need to go to project, settings, and here go to library management. Under library management you need to import MySQL connector jar file. So from where you can import, let me quickly show you that. Okay, where you can find this jar file. Okay, you can simply go to Google and say MySQL connector Maven. Maven will say Maven. So basically you can find dependency as well as jar file, both. So if you see here Maven MySQL connector, right? So click here. Let's go to my latest version. Okay, let's see here again. It's a Maven. Let me just again do that. MySQL connector. Let's do this again. Let me search here. Okay, so this one, MySQL connector JDBC connection. Okay, connector. Click here and 8.1.0. Click here. So this is your Maven dependency if you want to use under Maven pom.xml, but I need jar file, right? Click simply here. This is your jar file, right? Click here. It downloads your jar file. That's it. Downloaded. If you go to downloads, right? My jar file is already downloaded. Go to downloads. You can see the jar file here. See, this is my jar file. So that is what I have imported to Katalon. All you need to do is, again, let me just go back again. Project, settings, and then here go to library management, add, and go to your downloads and select your connector. That's it, because I already have a connector. So that is one thing. You need to add external jar file for the MySQL connector. And then you need to set up a database here. How? Here, go to secure user. For my this one WAMP server, right? For my WAMP server, my username and password is root is my username, password is empty. Okay, and you need not to provide any JDBC driver here. Where you need to provide the connection URL. How? If you see here, this is my connection URL, right? Copy this simply. Let me show you here. What I did is, this is my port How can I know port number? You just need to go to WAMP server here, go here, and here if you go to MySQL, it clearly shows here. Let me do one thing. Okay, let me do one thing. MySQL settings. If you see here, there should be port number here actually. Let's go here. Port number. Let's do one thing. Right click here. Tools. Go to tools and see here under tools. See 3306. So basically my port that MySQL is using is 3306. Okay. So that's how I got the port number. And what is this one? This is my database name, DB name. I have to replace this DB underscore name with actual database that I have created. What database I created? If you see here, this is the database, Katalon Cura, correct? So done. I have provided databases, correct? Simple. So basically you just need to copy. If you are using SQL, you can copy this and replace your database name and port. If you are using Oracle, you can copy this one. So that way. So I have just copied MySQL and I have replaced my port as well as my database name. That's it. Provide your username. I have not set up any password while installing my WAMP server, right? That's it. Click apply and close. So we have added jar file and then we also created database connection. Done. That is done. Now let's go here. Now create TestSuite now. Okay, and then perform data binding. Okay, how to perform data binding for the Excel sheet and as well as database we'll see here now. Okay, here data driven, correct? So under data driven, let's create. We'll do one thing here. Okay, let me directly import the data sheets here. Okay, right click and create new data. Oh, sorry, this is not my first. I need to import my data files, correct? If you see here, I need to import my data files. Let's go and see the import Excel file and DB connection with Katalon. We established the DB connection. Now I need to import data files. Okay, how? Let me show you. Let me create one new folder here. Multi-data, DB and Excel. Okay, I'm creating one folder under data files and here create new data, test data. First, I'm going to create for Excel sheet. What is that Excel sheet? In Excel sheet, we are storing the appointment details, correct? So let's create this as appointment details. And what is the data type? I'm storing all the appointment details in Excel file. Click OK. And here, let's browse the Excel sheet now. Browse the Excel sheet from local. So let's go to here, lesson 31, Cura appointment details. Click on open. That's it. So this Cura appointment details Excel sheet has two different test data sets, Hong Kong and Seoul, right? So save this. Done. Now I need to get the test data from database. For that, right click here. Again, let's create a new test data. I'll name this as authentication, right? I'm getting authentication from, this time data type is not Excel. It's a database data, correct? Database data. Click on OK. So as soon as you click on OK, see, this is the tab that where you landed. So before that, let's go to appointment details here again. As we did earlier, I'm using the first row as header, right? Bind to test case as string. And let's go here. So now we created authentication. If you see here, you have edit query. You need to click on edit query. And here, instead of providing secure username, password, JDBC and all these connections, these are all already we configured under project settings, right? So now I need not to use them. Instead, I can simply select use global database connection settings, and here provide your SQL query from where you want to drive the data. Authentication, right? Let's go here, select star from authentication. So this is the spelling, table name, authentication. That's it. Select star from authentication. Simply click OK. So now it should bring our entire test data from Excel database. See, it brought the data from database. Let's say if I add another row. For example, if I add another row, what happens? If I insert another row, let's say test username password, I'm inserting another row. Okay, let's click on go. So let's go to browse here. If you see, I have another data set. Go here. What you need to do, to reflect the latest details, you simply click on fetch data. See, now it has 3 rows, correct? So but now I want to delete this. Actually I want to delete. What is this? Let's go and go to your table, and here I want to delete it. Delete from authentication where password equal to password, right? I want to delete it. Simply go. Yes, I want to delete. So now one row is deleted. Let's go here again. See, now I have only 2 rows. Let's go back to your Katalon and fetch data. See, now it's 2 rows. That's it, right? So now my both the data sets are ready. Excel sheet and database, correct? Simply close this. Now let's create a test suite. So what is here? We already have data driven. Let's create one test suite. New test suite. Say data driven Excel and DB. Click OK. Now I want to import the test case. Just now we automated. What is this? This test case, right? Multi-source DB Excel. Okay. Let's import this to the test suite. Add. Where is that? Under data driven. This one. This one is actually my previous sessions, right? I would recommend you guys to visit my previous session, right? So that you understand very well this session. Okay. Select the test case. Click OK. Done. Now what is our next step? We created test suite. Now perform data binding using test data and variable binding. How? Go to show data binding. If you see here, as soon as I mention show data binding, I can see the variables from my test case. If you remember, we already created one test case here, right? While creating test case, we created the variables, right? These are the variables. So those variables are also brought to your test suite. Okay, because we imported the test case, so the variables also came here. Now here we don't have any values assigned to the variables, right? We kept these variables blank because I don't want to assign any particular value to the variable. Instead, I want to take the test data from database and take the test data from Excel sheet, right? So let's go back to your suite, test data suite. Now here, instead of assigning any values, I need to bring the test data from database or Excel sheet. For that, click on add. As soon as you click on add, I can see here, this is what the latest sheets that we imported, right? Multi-data, DB and Excel. This is what this one, right? This one. This is the data file that we created. So let's select appointment details. This is your Excel sheet and this is what we created from database, correct? Select both of them, click OK. One is database, another one is your Excel sheet, correct? One is coming from database and the other one is coming from Excel sheet, correct? MySQL and Excel. Now, as I explained you in my previous video, you can select your data, test data, in two ways. One is directly you can map all. By using click on map all, automatically Katalon chooses the suitable columns for all variables, because the variable names matches with the column names of your database and the column names of your Excel sheet, right? It matches. So Katalon automatically maps those details. So let's map all. It found 4 matches. Click on OK. See here, it matched everything successfully. See, my first username is coming from where? From the authentication Excel file, and my column is username, and password from authentication Excel file and password username. And here comments, sorry, this is not Excel file, this is your actually DB. Username and password is coming from database, and comments from Excel sheet, comments column. Facility variable from Excel sheet, from facility column. Perfect. This is one way. The other way is simple. You can select directly type as data column, and here select the test data set that you want to select. I want to select authentication, right? It is a database. Click OK, and then here I want to select my column name as username. So you can perform manually, or you can simply click on map all. Katalon will automatically maps. Save this. Now our data binding is finished. What we did? We have mapped, we have performed the data binding to this test suite, right? Authentication data binding happening from database, and appointment details happening from Excel sheet. So two different data sources we are using. Now let's run this now. Okay, before I run, okay, let's run this. Go to run and select your Chrome. Okay, let's, before Chrome, I want to close this session here. Okay, all the sessions. Now let's go here and click select Chrome, new session. So it started running. Now you should fetch the data from Excel sheet and database, right? So your username and password should come from database. So if you see here, make appointment. So now username, password is coming from database, and this one is coming from your Excel sheet. Perfect. Done. What is your next one? Again, second set. This time it should be Hong Kong, right? This is Hong Kong. Earlier it was Seoul. Perfect. So now we are able to drive the test data from two different data sources, Excel as well as database. How simple it is by using Katalon. I mean, see, till now I saw a lot of tools, but I felt like Katalon is the best tool for data driven. So you can see here, this is one data set, Seoul, and this is your second data set, right? Two test cases. One test case ran twice. 1, 2. Correct? Perfect. Hope you all understand the concept of data driven testing by using multiple data sources, that too different data sources. Okay, so if you have any queries, leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Thank you.
Hope you all understand the concept of data-driven testing by using multiple source systems like Excel sheet and the database. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you.